Welcome to another year of the Fearless Football Forecast. We had a little delay of game because of the hurricane, some scheduling issues, but we're ready to go. We're full strength, no worries. I'm going to introduce the usual cast of characters here. I'm your host, Ronnie Woodward. To my right is Tony Castleberry, and to his right is sports editor Jim Gentry. Guys, thanks for hanging on and doing this thing another year.
I couldn't wait. I mean, I know that all our fans were clamoring for us to be back.
Agreed.
So, it's nice to be back.
Yeah, be able to free up our schedules to do something like this for the people.
Right.
Agreed. All right, let's get right into it. Tony, started off with a huge Pitt County matchup every year, South Central at J.H. Rose.
Yeah, I think I heard you mention yesterday that it's probably the biggest game of the year as far as two Pitt County schools going against each other. A South Central team that, is priding itself in really riding defense right now. A little offensively challenged, came out with a big second half against Farmville Central last week. But really riding defense under new coach Carter. And Rose, we don't really know their identity, I don't think. I mean, they lose at Havelock. Havelock's a good team. They come back and win a close one against Conley last week. Should be a good matchup at Rose.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a really good matchup every year. Jim, you saw Farmville Central last week. They host D.H. Conley Friday.
Yeah, it's that game against South Central was kind of misleading, I think, in the second half. Farmville Central's a little down in numbers this year. They had about 25 guys on the field, and in the second half, they just got tired, and they've only scored 7 points in the second half of their two games so far this year. Depth's a real problem for them, and obviously D.H. Conley is really clicking right now. We've talked about this before. Brian Pascal's really got that offense clicking. They seem to put up a lot of points now. The one big problem with them is giving up those big plays. That's what hurt them against Rose. You take away one of those big plays. I think 97-yard run last week against Rose. That really hurt them. But I think this is going to come down to a numbers game.
All right, Tony, last one. Two smaller schools here, but a bit of rivalry that can get nasty sometimes, but it's probably a good game. North Pitt at Aiden Grifton.
Yeah, I watched Aiden Grifton last week, and it's the same thing every year. Coach Cornwell, I think they invented the term smash mouth football for that guy because they throw maybe 2 or 3 times a game. The rest of the time, they're going to line Quan Green up in the backfield, a huge back, particularly in 1A, and just run him at you over and over and over again. So North Pitt's defense better bring the hard hat to try to stop that guy. Agreed.
All right, well, there's the preview of the games. Now it's time to give all these fans out there what they really want. We're going to pick these games. Tony, started off South Central at J.H. Rose.
As we were talking last night, I've been going back and forth on this one. I'm really tempted to pick South Central. But I look at the numbers there. It says 6-0 Rose is all time. There's a mental block there that I think is still probably in place for South Central. Maybe they'll overcome that and upset them, but I'm not picking them. I'm picking Rose.
All right, Jim?
I'm going to go with Rose on this one as well. South Central looked good in the second half, but I'm not sure how much of that was how well South Central played or how tired Farmville Central got. South Central's line played really well last week, but again, I think they're going to run into the same problem as D.H. Conley. They're going to give up a couple big plays, and that'll be the difference.
Yeah.
This is a good game, an exciting game, and we always say, like you said, every year, is this the year South Central does it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Rose has some talent. I think they bounced back after what was kind of a weird Conley game. I think they're maybe better than that indicated. I think they beat South Central in a close game. D.H. Conley at Farmville Central.
I think Conley is they started turning it around toward the second half of last year. Carried that over into a great start to the season, even though they lost last week. I mean, they lose after not getting a 2-point conversion. They were this close to beating Rose. And as you mentioned, Jim, Farmville Central is a team that doesn't have a lot of kids. And it seems like Gardner's teams always get better as they go along. They're rarely ever good in August and September. They're a lot better later on. I don't think they're there right now. I think Conley gets a pretty big win.
All right, Jim?
I think the same thing. I have to agree with Tony again that Conley's offense is clicking right now. They came up 2 yards short from beating Rose last week and being 2-0. I think they're going to continue to build. Brian Pascal's got a nice program he's developing over there right now. And right now, at this point, I just think they have too much for Farmville.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I like what Pascal's building, what he's building there with those players and the confidence they have that I saw last week against Rose. I think they continue to score points and get it done. Although it is scary because of what happened at the Rose game, how they bounced back kind of emotionally.
Yeah.
But I think they hold off Farmville Central in a pretty good game. Last one, Tony, North Pitt at Aiden Grifton.
I think this could be a really good game, maybe the closest game of the week. Aiden Grifton is going to be without Kareem Gent, who was their featured tailback. But when they can bring a guy like Quan Green in, who did what he did last week, had 97 yards and a touchdown, it's going to be tough for North Pitt's defense to stop him. I've got to pick Aiden Grifton. I think they're going to edge him, but I think it'll be a really close game.
All right, Jim.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tony again here. It's frightening, but it's going to be a tight one. I think this will be the closest game of the week amongst these three, without a doubt. Losing their star running back will be tough, but like we say, Aiden Grifton's got 4 guys that can carry the ball and smash you in the face with it over and over again.
Yeah.
North Pitt's coming off a pretty nice win, but I think Aiden Grifton will win by about 10 points.
Yeah, I like Aiden Grifton in the tempo that we've all kind of mentioned, the way they control the clock, run the ball, kind of control the game and control the tempo. I'm going with the Chargers as well. So I hate to bore y'all with all the same picks here, but that's the way we did it with the first week. Check Friday's paper and Saturday's paper and see us next week.